Hi, this is Ghost Hunter Joe. Part of the folklore associated with the legend of Mary Jane's grave is the curse of Mary Jane's tree. There are different versions of the curse. At least one version claims that if you even touched the tree, you would die. That version is obviously not true, as I have touched it numerous times over the past 10 years, and I'm still alive and well. The version that I heard back when I was in high school 45 years ago was that if you peed on Mary Jane's tree, you would experience bad luck, such as your car not starting or getting into an accident on the way home after peeing on it. Almost everyone at my high school claimed to have known someone, or that their parents knew someone, who had died in a fatal accident after peeing on the tree. According to an article in the Richland Source published in 2015, a carload of teenagers did fatally crash on Possum Run Road after visiting the cemetery and allegedly peeing on the tree.
I'm standing here at Possum Run Road, just south of Main Street, just a few miles away from Mary Jane's grave. According to an article in Richland Source, a carload of teenagers met their death on this road after leaving Mary Jane's grave. According to folklore, they just peed on Mary Jane's tree.
This is a picture of the infamous tree at the Mount Olive Cemetery, upon which the alleged witch, Mary Jane, was supposedly hung in 1898. I took this picture back in 2011. As I recall, it was pitch dark when I took the picture, and I had no idea how tall the tree was or how far back to stand, so I just aimed my digital camera in the general vicinity, snapped the picture, and hoped for the best. It was said that bad luck, such as death, would befall you if you peed on Mary Jane's tree. So naturally, all the boys at my high school wanted to pee on the tree to prove that they were a man and they weren't afraid of the curse. It was almost like a rite of passage into manhood for the boys to pee on Mary Jane's tree, and the tradition at my high school was to get a full frontal picture, typically a Polaroid, of themselves peeing on the tree, and to share it at school the next day. I didn't participate in this tradition, in part because I was a new kid who just moved here from Florida, but also because I didn't know the location of Mary Jane's grave, and I didn't have a car to get there, even if I had. When I moved with my family to the Mansfield, Ohio area from Rockledge, Florida, I kept in contact with my best friend David, pictured on the left. That's me on the right. Keeping in contact was a lot harder to do back then. We didn't have email, instant messages, or texting. In fact, long-distance charges for a brief phone call from Ohio to Florida back then would have cost a fortune, and our parents would have never permitted that. So we kept in contact the old-fashioned way by writing letters. We also sent each other cassette tapes using fictional radio formats. He was stationed WGAR, and I was WJMC. We played music for each other, performed comedy skits, conducted fake interviews, and the like. When I told David about the legend of Mary Jane's grave and the curse of Mary Jane's tree, he dared me to pee on the tree and sent him a picture of me peeing on it. As any high school-aged boy would do under those circumstances, I accepted the challenge. He didn't even have to double-dog dare me. Some may say that I reneged on the dare, because for the next 44 years I didn't have my picture taken peeing on the tree. But in my defense, we never actually set a time frame for when I had to complete the dare. And David knew that I didn't know the location, or have a car to get there, or for that matter, that I didn't even have a Polaroid camera to take a picture of me peeing on a tree. So to me, it was something I intended to do, but just never got around to doing. With respect to the location, I didn't know the location until approximately 35 years later, when I happened to be surfing the internet and did a search and found out it was only 7 miles from my home in Mansfield. With respect to David's challenge for me to send him a picture of me peeing on Mary Jane's tree, it's not like he nagged me over the years to do it. In fact, I don't think he ever brought it up again. Sadly, David passed away in 2019, and while he may have forgotten about his challenge from so many decades ago, I didn't, and everyone who knows me knows that if nothing else, I'm a man of my word. In 2014, a juvenile delinquent took a chainsaw to the Mount Olive Cemetery and sawed down Mary Jane's tree. This is a picture which appeared in the Mansfield News Journal at the time. This is another picture of Mary Jane's tree, which appeared in the Mansfield News Journal after it was sawed down in 2014. According to the article, 8 monuments at the Mount Olive Cemetery were destroyed by the tree falling on them. This is a picture of me taken in 2019, standing next to the large stump that used to be Mary Jane's tree until it was sawed down in 2014. The sawing down of Mary Jane's tree did not have the effect that one might have thought it would have. The urban legend did not simply go away just because the tree was sawed down. I'm here to say that the legend is just as strong as ever. With respect to my pledge made so many years earlier to have my picture taken peeing on Mary Jane's tree, in my mind it wasn't affected by the sawing down of the tree. After all, I could still pee on the stump just as well as I could have the tree, and the stump was going to be around for a long time, so there was no hurry or sense of urgency. While visiting the Mount Olive Cemetery with my godson Thomas in 2020, we discovered that someone had apparently set the stump on fire, and there wasn't much left of it, as can be seen in this photograph. For 44 years, I have been putting off having my picture taken peeing on Mary Jane's tree and then the tree's stump. After the kid had sawed down the tree, I figured when I finally got around to it, I would do it in grand fashion by having my picture taken while standing on top of the stump and peeing. But now, if anyone were to climb on top or sit on the stump, it would probably collapse. In fact, I figured in the stump's current condition, it wasn't going to be around much longer. So if I was going to keep my promise to David by having my picture taken peeing on Mary Jane's tree, or stump, it was now or never.
When we found out somebody cut the tree down, Joe said it's now or never if we're going to get our picture taken peeing on the stump. I took a picture of Joe peeing on the stump, and he took a picture of me peeing on the stump. We never intended for anyone to see the pictures, but unlike Joe, nobody's seen mine.
Remember how I said that according to the urban legend, the curse for peeing on Mary Jane's tree was to experience bad luck? Well, I'm living proof of that curse. Yes, I peed on the stump, and in keeping with my high school tradition, I documented this courageous act by having my picture taken doing so. I never intended for anyone to see that picture, not even David, who had passed away in 2019. But as bad luck would have it, while uploading the picture from my iPhone to my computer, the uncensored picture was accidentally uploaded to Facebook for the whole world to see. This is the censored picture of me peeing on Mary Jane's stump. The uncensored picture was accidentally posted on Facebook for 10 minutes before I caught and deleted it. During those 10 minutes, numerous people saw it, ranging from female cousins, co-workers, family, friends, and apparently strangers. It received 10 likes in 10 minutes. And over the next 24 hours, I received 22 friend requests from total strangers. I have belonged to Facebook for over 12 years and never received that many friend requests. I didn't know my political posts were that popular. In addition to the likes and friend requests, several people captured screenshots of the uncensored picture of me peeing on the stump and forwarded them to my grandson and others. One of the individuals who's captured a screenshot was a former coworker who was asked to remain anonymous. He forwarded it to me and pointed out that a face appeared in the photograph to the right of my penis. This is the censored picture of me peeing on Mary Jane's stump with the alleged face outlined in red. It's been speculated that it looks demonic. Take a few moments to look closely at this invisible entity. The demonic spirit's mouth appears to be open. Some have said that he appears to be hissing, while others say he is laughing. I assure you, you haven't lived until your manhood's been laughed at by a demonic spirit. In a previous video, I concluded that the legend of Mary Jane's grave was based on a lie made up by a counselor at the nearby Hidden Hollow campgrounds back in 1960. Accordingly, Mary Jane Hendrickson was not a witch, and she wasn't hung from a great pine tree at the Mount Olive Cemetery, nor buried underneath it. But just because the underlying facts surrounding this enduring local urban legend aren't true, doesn't mean something isn't going on at this 19th century cemetery. Was my accidental uploading of the uncensored picture of me peeing on Mary Jane's stump for the whole world to see bad luck due me for peeing on the stump, or was it just a coincidence? Is the alleged face in the picture of me peeing on Mary Jane's stump an actual spirit, or just grass and leaves and our eyes and active imaginations playing tricks? Is it definitive proof of spirits, demonic or otherwise? Of course not. It's merely interesting. But when Thomas and I went back to the cemetery and attempted to capture another picture of this invisible entity that seemingly appeared in the picture of me peeing on the stump, things started to get even more interesting, which is the subject matter for a future video. Stay tuned.